Check. Good. So I'm Max Ceron. Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding Podcast. Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding Podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association Podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and as always, I'm trying to find the cool talent out there across Canada and the world. Today I have a wonderful caller calling in today from Toronto, Ontario. We got Cassie Zinga, who is a fitter fabricator, and she's an apprentice, and she works for a structural company. How are you doing today, Cassie?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Max?
I'm great. Number one, first of all, I love having a fabricator on the show. That's my love. My second love, I started in welding, but I became a fabricator, so it's good. And sunny. It's cold. Well, it's warm in Saskatchewan, but I got a cold wind, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, for sure.
And you, how's Ontario treating you today?
It's good. We got some sun. Yesterday was pretty nice. It's supposed to be nice this weekend, so we're looking forward to that.
How's work today? How's the shop?
Today is good, of course, being a fabrication fitter. Nothing wants to fit, so
that's what hammers are
dealing
for.
with that today. Yeah, dealing with that today, but we got her done. So
good. Well, let's start a little bit. You know, you're calling me from Ontario, and is that where you call home? Is that where your roots are?
yeah, I grew up about 45 minutes east of Toronto in Whitby. And then I moved to Toronto when I was 20. I'm 29 now.
Yeah. Well, you look like you're 22. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
Thank you. Sometimes I get ID'd sometimes.
I haven't got ID'd since I was like 8. So I guess
Fair.
I've always looked like an old potato. So.
Oh man.
So you're growing up in a small town, in Whitby's not that small. You're growing outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
And at some point you got the bug. So let's talk about that. What attracted young Cassie into the trades?
So I did construction all throughout high school and I loved it. And I actually won the grade 12 construction award at our graduation. And my teacher really took me under his wing. I was one of the few girls in the class, and he was a great guy, but I was dead set on going to school for firefighting.
Oh, firefighting. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, construction off to the side, I'm going to go to school for firefighting. And I did that, graduated, loved it, but I just knew it wasn't going to be my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to Toronto because I love live music and it just drew me in. Kind of got astray, didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, and started working for a loading dock.
Okay.
So deliveries and such like that. I was there for 5 years, ended up managing there, had a team of great people, but I kind of climbed the ladder as high as I could in the position.
Yeah.
And then trades came into play.
How did that happen?
So I always had an interest in the trades, and my partner is actually a plumbing apprentice. And he heard of Women on Site, which I know that you're aware of Women on Site.
Yep.
He was like, you have to follow all of these girls and message them and get a feel of what's going on. I had no idea. Welding, fitting, fabricating I didn't even know those things existed at the time. And I went to one of their meetings, the Women on Site meetings, and I talked to some of the girls there, and welding was one of those things where I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. And
so
a lot of
I
the
went
women
home.
in the Women on Site program are in the welding fields.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of them. And I went home from that meeting and I Googled Canada welding woman or something, Instagram, and Alicia Buddy came up.
Yeah.
Because she's the first thing that comes up with Canada Welding Girl. And I messaged her and I told her my interest, and she said, "Why don't you come to the shop and we'll play around?"
Yeah.
And I was not expecting her to respond. She has so many followers, right? Like, I was just amazed. And I got to go to her shop and make a metal rose. It was
Nice.
the first time I had touched a welder. We'd used MIG. I had never seen it before. And I was on a high the rest of the day. Like, I was holding this rose with me wherever I went. I was so excited.
Yeah, like, I made this.
Oh, so cool. And so I was like, I'm going to apply to school. I'm going to apply to
Mm.
welding school. This is amazing. Yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Well, let's go back there because number one, firefighting. You know, so like
Yeah.
you were, well, maybe even let's go back further. Construction. So you were working in construction in
Yeah.
high school. So I guess why? You know, that's already not a stereotypical kind of gig that a lot of girls are looking at to get into in high school. Like, you know, everyone's looking for
Yeah.
like the Burger Kings or the, you know, the working at the hotels on the weekends or whatever kind of jobs. What attracted you to get into construction while you were in high school?
Well, I was taking construction in high school. So
Okay,
it was
yeah.
a class in high school. So I
Mhm.
wasn't working on the field, but I grew up with all boys, and if there was something that I wanted done, my dad would be like wanting to teach me how to do it myself without the help.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I saw it on the course registry, there was like, what do you do, home ec or something? I was like, that's
Yeah.
not for me. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Let's do the construction. And still to this day, in the grade 12 class, I made a not dining room, a living room table, like a coffee table.
Mhm.
It's still my coffee table in my house now.
That's
Like,
awesome.
yeah, it was so cool. So I stuck that out for the 4 years, and
Yeah.
it was great. Like, even just learning how to use hand tools was
That's right.
amazing.
Yeah, just that confidence to be
Yeah.
like, I need to pick up a tool and use it, right?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
It's interesting, and I don't want to slang home ec because I took home ec.
I mean, yeah, but I knew I wasn't going to be good at it.
But I'm a great cook, so I feel like it helped. So it's good.
Okay. But what about baking? Baking's hard.
Baking is hard, so I can cook really well, but I'm not a very good baker because I'm not
I agree.
I'm not very like good at following recipes. I always want to like add a little bit
Same.
extra. But it's funny because I just interviewed someone the other day and we were talking about how baking and welding are identical because of metallurgy.
I said this to my foreman at work that I was horrible at baking, and he's like, "How are you welding?" And I was like, "Oh, it's not the same." He's like, "Kind of is."
Yeah, and see like ingredients, alloys, things change, different things. So
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so you grew up in a world where the trades were kind of like accepted, you know, like you said you
Yeah.
grew up around all boys. So it was already on your radar. You were liking
Yeah.
it. You already got kind of past that fear part. And then we get to firefighting. Now, I know a lot of people that have gone in to be firefighters. A lot of my friends were firefighters, but not for a career, like you said. A lot of people tried it
Mhm.
for a bit. Very few of them decided they wanted to do that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
You know,
it's difficult.
what was it that attracted you to firefighting?
I think it was that same kind of thing that attracted me to construction in a way, because I couldn't imagine sitting at a desk,
Yeah.
typing away. Like, there was people that knew exactly what they wanted to do from grade 9, you know?
But did they, or did someone just tell them what they were going to do?
Or that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was, firefighting was one of those things where I was so interested in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about university or any of those complicated courses. I was like, firefighting, that's it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that.
It's kind of like what you always said when you were little. We're like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you're like,
exactly.
firefighter.
You just stuck with it. You just stuck with it. It's something that was comfortable in your brain. And I was always used to being in male-dominated spaces as well. So it was just an easy,
just normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then why didn't you stick it out? What happened?
Well, I graduated, I got my DZ license, I did all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that I would have liked to do it more as a volunteer one day
Like a volunteer
than a
firefighter in your
full-time
area.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hopefully in the future, move out of the city type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I got some friends that are the small town volunteer firefighters, and it's still more work than they expected.
Oh, for sure. But you get to scratch that itch, you know?
Yeah. And it's a bit of a thrill-seeking thing too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, I mean, the firefighting, it's like you want to be a care worker or like a healthcare worker where you are there on site, but you also don't want to be a nurse. You don't want to be taking care of people all the time, right? And you want to have the thrill of the call and the work, but then it's also like and helping people, but then it's also the risk and the danger and
horrifying.
It's exactly. It's like you're giving yourself PTSD like on purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's like everyone always talks about the dangerous fumes of firefighting. Like my stepdad is a firefighter, and I'm like, well, I traded those fumes for welding fumes.
Yeah. You still gotta wear. You still gotta suit up. You gotta wear all this gear, and
oh, for sure,
before you even go into work.
I'm the queen of PPE. I'm the queen of PPE.
That's great. I was just talking to someone. Geez, was it yesterday? I was at a career fair and I ran into an old friend of mine, an iron worker, Paul Groniak, and we were talking about getting old because we've been welding since we were kids. And I said, I'm just waiting for the ball to drop because I welded chrome for like 20 years without a mask.
With nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, right. And like now you read articles and it's like, even if you're around chrome for like one day, it'll take 10 years off your life. I was like, what? It's like, so I think about that. I'm like, man, 30 years ago, we knew to wear earplugs and we knew to wear eye glasses, like the obvious things, but we just kind of trusted that the electrode fumes weren't that bad for us. Like we didn't, we would just open the door and let the wind blow it out and that was good enough, right? Like,
no respirators or anything, eh?
No, I didn't even see someone wear a respirator until I was 10 years into the industry. And then it was weird. They would get made fun of. It was like, ooh, say you're so safe. And like people would be mean to people being safe. It's weird. Like,
well, it's even like, it goes with anything. Like I ride my bike to work and all the guys I work with also ride their bike to work. And I'm the only one that wears a helmet. I'm like, guys, you ride in Toronto. Wear your PPE.
Yeah, you must wear. I wear my helmet on my bike, but it's funny because I didn't. Now I know, right? Like, I mean,
exactly.
I guess if you're a welder today and you're not wearing your PPE, something's weird because now we know, right?
It's when the new guys are trying to look cool welding in their t-shirt. I'm like, check in with me tomorrow and see how that sunburn.
See how that feels. Yeah. So you decide after meeting Alicia, who's wonderful. We worked with her for a bunch of stuff. She's a great girl, and I think she's on her second child now, so that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's good. And you decide that this making of the rose is a turning point in your life, and you want to pursue welding. So now what? What do? You go home, you're all pumped about welding. How do you even start thinking about getting into it? Because that confuses a lot of people.
Yeah, I was so scared, but I just knew I had to pick something and run with it. And like that pivotal moment with Alicia, it was like, this made me so excited. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
So I got everything together and I live very close to George Brown campus. And I'm like, I'm only going to apply to George Brown and they're going to take me. So I applied to George Brown and they took me. And it was just the start of something so great. Like, I'm so happy that I made that decision. It was great.
So the program you decided to take, like the fitter welder program, first of all, sorry, go ahead.
This program is the welding techniques program at
Okay, welding
Georgetown
techniques
College.
program. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a fabrication class,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in the second semester of it, and that was kind of when I found my niche.
Okay, so explain to me,
Yeah.
because before the interview, I said, I don't know too many students from George Brown. So,
Yeah.
like, what was the program that you signed up for? Like length, time, and what's in it?
So this is another reason why I took it. It was 8 months.
Okay.
So one school term, right?
Yeah.
And so the first semester focused a lot on the basics of stick, MIG, and then we didn't introduce TIG until second semester.
Okay.
And we just had basic metallurgy, math for welders, which was
Mm-hmm.
incredible. I use it every day at work, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy
Yeah.
that was the course.
That's the math they should teach everyone. Honestly, it's the best math.
Oh my gosh, it's the best. And it makes
Yeah.
sense in your head, which is great. And yeah, so first semester was very, very basic, blueprint reading, etc. Second semester was more focused on TIG. We still had 6 hours of stick a week, which was quite a lot compared to 2 hours of MIG, but it's okay. And that's when we had our fabrication class as well.
Okay, and then after the 2 semesters, what happens? Is there a co-op to help you find a job?
Nope.
Do you
You're
get any
out in the world.
Do you get to challenge any CWB tickets at all? Come up with any certs at all?
We got to challenge our stick flat for CWB.
And did you get it?
Yes, I did get it. It was a really good experience, actually. Our inspector was super nice and made us all feel super comfortable. So that was good.
Awesome. And then they cut you loose. They're like, get out there, young people, and get to work.
Yeah, and so a big part of that for me was I don't have a job after this, right? Like I quit my job to go to school. So I started looking for jobs before second semester started.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one day off a week with school. So I was telling everyone, hey, I can work Thursdays, and then after school is done, I can be full-time. And which is a very hard ask to ask employers, right? Yeah.
But people are looking for people like crazy. I'm sure you got some takers.
Yeah, well, the one taker that I liked is the one I'm working on now still. So it worked out good.
So it worked out good. So let's this program that you took, how many women were in your class in when you took the program?
I believe there was 8, which was pretty good.
That's good, yeah.
And all different ages as well, which was nice. Like we had people straight out of high school and we had people older than me. So I was really afraid that I was going to be the oldest person there. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
But even if I was, it would have been fine. Everyone was super nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, the program you took, you feel, I guess you're going to come out of any program feeling pretty good with yourself. You got good marks. You feel pretty confident. But then, you also are just scratching the surface of what welding is, right?
Yeah.
Because
still so green.
Yeah, you're still so green. And there's also and then there's welding and then there's fabricating, which are 2 different trades that they hold hands all the way, but they're 2 different kind of red seals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you kind of know that you would want to go down more of a fabrication route? I mean, I think the construction background lends really well to fabrication because it's kind of the same world.
Yeah. So one of our teachers, shout out to Edgar, I know he'll listen to this.
Okay, hey Edgar.
He was incredible. He started off fitting and fabricating. And learning from him was, I can't even put into words how grateful I am for him. He was the one that brought that idea to my head. And he taught that fabrication course. And I don't think if he wasn't there and didn't teach it, I probably wouldn't have had such a strong interest and applied to the places that I did.
Right.
So it was really influenced, honestly. And then that got me to be so interested in that part of it.
So a lot of the fabrication work out there is either tied to usually structural, um, or like whether it's industrial or commercial, or kind of repair or custom fab for industry,
Yeah.
whether it's mining or lumber or power generation or whatever. You're building stuff. So what kind of
Yeah.
work did you get into?
So my shop does custom architectural fabrication and also custom public art.
Oh, wow.
So I got I like to say I found a unicorn of a shop
Mm-hmm.
because I did not expect to get into a shop where I would be creating art.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. Like right now we're working on a giant staircase, which is amazing because they have me working on the stringers and stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, I'm working with these giant pieces of metal, like fitting little puzzle pieces together. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I love
Well,
it.
the hard part about art installation or commercial art is that it has to be so perfect because people
Hmm.
really look at it. You know, if you're doing
Oh,
an
yeah.
industrial staircase in the bottom of a mine, yes, it needs to be safe and yes, it needs to be done well, but no one looks at it. No one's like, "Oh, someone spilled their coffee on that or something." You know, like,
Oh,
but
no.
but when you're doing
These are
commercial
like,
installations, people look.
yeah, and even the staircases too, like their art in itself,
Yeah,
we're doing a giant 6 floor spiral staircase right now.
that's
It's
awesome.
crazy. It's crazy.
So as a young woman coming into that shop, you know, how important was it to have the support of the people around you? Like, did you feel scared getting out into like the real world of welding?
So my boss likes to make fun of me because when he called me, I asked him what if he wants me to bring my gear, right? And he's like, "Oh, you really want to do this the right way, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
Well,
learned this.
yeah.
Like, get me in there. Like, put me." And I had never done a CWB test before, and I went to the
Mhm.
shop, and he's like, "Can you do flux core?" I was like, I'd done flux core once, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, let's go." And I did my first CWB test through the shop, so it didn't get sent out anywhere. It was just for them.
Yeah.
And he liked it. I passed,
Hmm.
and that gave me a lot of confidence. I was like, okay, he knows I'm not just here to screw around, and he
Yeah. You're
knows,
gonna have a real job. You're gonna be
yeah,
involved. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And so I didn't feel scared. I was like more excited than anything,
Yeah.
really. And I was only working Thursdays at the time with school, and I didn't want to mention anything to anyone because I also didn't want to jinx it if
Yeah.
anything
Yeah. Or come
happened.
off like a brag. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And so I just kind of held it in until I knew I was going to be full time after school, and then I was like,
How did your
everyone.
class do in general? Like, how did everyone did everyone graduate? Because like I mean, I hear it every day the shortage of welders, and I'm hoping that every class out there is everyone passes.
Little bit of a humble brag, but everyone in my class, which was 23 students, I think 24, only 2 people didn't pass their CWB test.
Hmm.
So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got an email this morning about a sad student who failed his CWB test today
Oh,
and was like,
okay.
I'm losing hope. I don't know if I should continue. And I was like, no, you gotta stick it out. It's a long career.
Yeah.
You got a long life ahead of you. Like,
One of my bosses, when I was waiting for the results, because I'm my own worst critic, obviously, we
hmm,
all are.
yeah.
And I'm like, I definitely failed it. And he's like, why do you keep saying that? I'm like, I'm just preparing myself. And he's like, well, it took me 3 times to get it. And I was like, okay, if it takes one of the bosses that long, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, this is a good time for our break. Let's stop here and go for our advertisers. And then when I get back, I want to talk to you more about like, there's like a few kind of notes I made here about your career and how you got into it that I think are pretty
Yeah.
key. So, we're going to go let our advertisers do some talking, and they're going to blab to you about the great people that sponsor us. And then we'll be right back here with Cassie Zinga on the CWB Association podcast.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
And we are back on the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and I'm here with Cassie, who's been talking to me about her career in the fabrication world for a really cool architectural structural company that does installation artwork as well, which sounds like the dream job, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like I lucked out. And I say I lucked out, but I also worked very hard.
You chased it. It sounded like you were pretty focused on that place.
Yeah, there was 2 shops that I really, really liked, and they're actually in the same, like, 5 minutes away from each other. And I was just like, I want one of these so bad. Like, but they also collaborate sometimes too, which is so cool.
Even better.
Yeah.
So a couple of the things that I noticed when you were talking that I think is important for the listeners is your first desire to get more information, and you just go into Google and having like Alicia show up, on your feed and going to this internet world. So like you go to Instagram, you go to TikTok, you go to Facebook now, and you will see so many more people now promoting the trades, right? Now, for someone like you who kind of doesn't know much about it but was just curious, how important is it to be able to find these mentors online?
It is so important. Like, I didn't realize how big networking would be in the trades. I had no idea. And I personally made an Instagram when I started school just to post progress and stuff, but connecting with people on that was so key, because if I had trouble in class that my teachers couldn't answer or something, like anything, I would message someone and say, hey, look at this. Why does this look like this?
Yeah.
Can you help me? What? Or even just, hey, that looks great. Keep going.
Yeah. And
it's so important.
How did you find the support to be online? Because I know that some people, and I hear it every now and then, but I don't necessarily agree. But a lot of people are like, oh, you got to watch the haters online. There's so many haters. There's so much negativity online. I haven't had that experience. I find that most of the people online are really supportive of me. And sure, I have a hater here and there. Someone says something mean, but it's like very rare, to be honest.
I think the only time I ever experienced anything or saw anything like that was we had a portfolio class at school, and we had to make a LinkedIn profile as part of our portfolio class. I'd never had one before. I didn't know what I was getting into. We had to post pictures of like 5 posts for Mark. And I posted a practice flat stick plate. And I didn't have run on and run off tabs. Oh my gosh, this circulated. And I was getting bullied.
Really? Like, what are you doing? Where's your runoff tabs? Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it was all grown men. I was like, oh no. But that was the only thing. And it was pretty harmless. And
and that's LinkedIn. Yeah. That's like for boring people anyways.
It's so funny. Oh my god. Yeah, but on my Instagram, nothing. Everyone's so supportive.
Yeah. And like, as a woman, how important was it to find programs like Women on Site and to find programs like the Instagram groups that are out there, which are some very big ones?
Yeah, so it actually started with when I went for the open house at George Brown. We had a female welding tech on site, and seeing her there telling everyone about the machines, the program, like being so knowledgeable, I was just like, oh my gosh, amazing. I have her to look up to during the program. So I had that in-person female inspiration, and then all these online personalities, I guess, that I could reach out to. And I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. I was like, I looked up to you a year ago, and I still look up to her, obviously, but I
Mm-hmm.
looked up to you like you were some celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so cool to now be on that same career path as that person I was looking up to.
Yeah. And you
It's
can
so,
talk shop and it's like you have a common
yeah,
language. Yeah.
yes, it's so cool. Yeah.
Well,
I love it. Yeah.
no, it's great. And like, are you starting to see now that perhaps you could be that person for others?
I had a guy message me from high school, and he was like, I saw you, like, you went for a second career and all this stuff, and you really inspired me to go back to school. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like,
It's happening. Yeah.
I was running around my shop. I was like, guys, look at this message I got. It's so true. I would love to have someone look at that and go, oh, she did it. I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think that is most inspiring for people without even them knowing it is that just being yourself, just being your authentic self and succeeding opens the door for other people to want to succeed because they see a little bit of you in them, right?
Yeah. And when I was listening to a previous episode that you had posted, I can't remember who said it, but they were like, some people were messaging me saying, I don't know you, you don't know me, but you inspired me to go back and do something else. And like,
Mm-hmm.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
To have such a positive impact is so cool.
Now, in your job now, what's your goal? Are you the type of work you're in? Are you required to get your red seal? Do they want you to get more certs? Because you got a job, and what happens to a lot of people that start an apprenticeship is that they stay in apprenticeship forever. Like I run into people that are 30-year apprentices because they never went back to finish it off.
Mm,
Like
right.
are you concerned about that, or do you have a plan for finishing out your career, your I guess not your career, but your education?
Yeah. So that was one of the first things that I asked the shop. I said, would you be interested in having me as an apprentice so that I can get my red seal?
Yeah.
And they have never had a registered apprentice like through
Ontario
for
apprenticeship.
fitting and
Yeah. Yeah.
fabrication. Yes, through the Ontario apprenticeship. They had never had one before, but they were arms open, ready to go, taking me for apprenticeship. So my goal is to get my red seal in fabrication and fitting,
Hmm.
and then possibly in welding after.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing the fitting, the metal fitter apprenticeship because it's dying. There's very few people getting that red seal
I
anymore.
know.
It's like a dying trade, and it's very sad for me because I love it so much. I've been able to work on so many amazing projects because of that red seal.
Yeah.
And I think about the future. And I'm like, who's going to be doing these things? Who's going to be learning how to? Because to be an actual fabricator, red seal, you got to know trigonometry and algebra, and you got to like
Yeah.
it's advanced mathematics, and you can't just always trust an engineer. Like you got to be able to work the math out yourself, right? And that's kind
For
of
sure.
dying, right?
I know. I just had this conversation with my boss on last Friday. It's the shop drawings. Yeah, we have the engineers are sending stuff in, but he tweaks so many measurements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's a fabricator by trade.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really want to get you in on the shop drawings so that you can also learn this stuff.
Yeah.
So that my goal is to be as knowledgeable as I can be. Honestly, I want to be the person that someone comes to. They're like, I don't know how to do this. Let's ask Cassie. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now,
What-
I am so far from that, but
Oh,
I'll
they
get
could be
there.
like, "Wait, hey, how do you do how do you set your flux core machine?"
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
still something useful. Still useful.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what's your family
now,
think? Like your
pardon?
family, like what's your family think? You know, you move away, you have a couple different careers, you're trying these different paths. You know, at some
Yeah.
point, I'm sure your mom and dad, or you know, your family was like, pick something already. What are you doing, Cassie? What's going on?
It was my mom was afraid of me leaving my last job because I made really good money there. I
Hmm.
had amazing benefits. I had really good time off and everything. She's like, why are you leaving this? You're pretty much set at
Good
this
job.
job if
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
stay. I was so bored, Max. I was like, I can't do this. My dad, on the other hand, he's like, just go for it, do it. And now he's my, they're both my
Biggest
biggest
cheerleader.
fans, but my dad is so funny. Like I made him like silly little things at school, and he'll just be like, "Look at what Cassie made. Look at this." He's like, "Can you make my friend this?" Like,
It's
but
like,
he
yeah,
knows
yeah.
I'm just yeah. He knows I'm just. Both of them know I'm just so much happier in actually going to school and then getting a job after instead of just letting this fizzle out.
Hmm.
Was they're like, okay, she found it, she got it.
And like in terms of living in Toronto, like this is something that came up last year when I was doing some work with the Toronto chapter. And it was a question of like, okay, you know, do welders have a life that's like a good life in Toronto in the GTA? Because it's a lot of things like, oh, I can be a computer designer and but that's not enough money to live in the GTA, or I can be this, but that's not enough money to live in the GTA because it's so expensive.
Yeah,
Now, for yourself, you know, do you feel like you can be a welder and live in the GTA you know, reasonably?
I think that no one can live
That's fair.
reasonably
Yeah.
in Toronto and buy a house, but in the GTA, maybe.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
think for welding, yeah. Like right now, I rent, and I'm very much comfortable with
Yeah.
working at the shop I'm at. I ride my bike to work, which is incredible. It's close
Mm-hmm.
by.
Saves you a ton of money.
Um,
Yeah.
oh, for sure. But everything's so expensive in Toronto now that I don't even know if the CEO can, whatever company can afford
It's
everything.
you know, it's why you say that, not even the CEO, because I always joke with bosses about that because in Saskatchewan, we have all the CEOs from Ontario living out here. They run
Yeah,
huge companies in Ontario, but they live out here. You know, they got
I
the huge
know.
mansion at the lake, and they come out here every summer, and I'll run into them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm the CEO for like CIBC in Toronto." It's like, well, what the heck are you doing out here? It's like, well, I can't live in Toronto. It's like, what?
I know, it's crazy. But
And so
yeah,
what's you know you want to get that red seal, and do you see yourself, you know, obviously working with this company for a long time, but do you have ambitions of perhaps owning or doing your own thing? Like Alicia's so independent, and I know she's a mentor to you. Do you see yourself
yeah.
doing something like that?
So my ultimate goal would be to move out of the city eventually. I want to at least finish my
Yeah.
apprenticeship
Yeah.
uh, in Toronto. And I would love to buy property outside of the city, be a volunteer firefighter, and then just make really cool stuff for people.
Yeah.
That would be,
Yeah.
I don't know the logistics of it all, but that is the pipe dream.
That sounds like a pretty solid dream. Like, I mean, most welders I know that just want to make cool stuff for people are doing really well, to be honest. They never run out of
Yes,
work
yes,
because, you know, I did an experiment about 5 years ago when I was teaching at the college. I was like, I when I was young, I was always so, I don't know, ambitious that I'd always have like two, three jobs on the go. So I was like
yeah.
working 16, 20 hours a day every day. It's just I just love that feeling
That's
of
insane.
doing stuff. And then when I started teaching at the college, I thought, okay, you know what? I've paid my dues. I could slow down now. So I kind of shut down some of the side hustles. And then summer came around and I get summers off, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
well, all the other teachers, they just like do nothing for the summer. They like relax and like, you know,
Hmm.
but I'm not very good at doing that. So
Me
I I
neither.
I literally put an ad in Kijiji being like, because Kijiji's free, right? And I was like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
what certified welder looking to pick up work over the summer, odds and ends. You know, we'll
yeah.
charge by piece. You know, like I'll just, we'll decide when you bring it in. That was a big mistake. I got like
Really?
300 emails like first day.
No way.
There was so much work for me to do, and I realized that we sometimes forget about little things. We get hung up that every project needs to be $1,000 or every project needs to be $10,000 or I need to make $10,000 a month to survive. Or you forget about the fact that a lot of little old ladies have a broken kitchen chair that they're willing to pay $40 to fix.
Right. Yeah. And if you
there's
have the equipment,
that's right.
you're good to go.
And there was a lot of like brass frames that had broken for like antique brass frames, and no one fixes those.
Right.
Well, I can fix that with oxy-fuel. I can go buy a brass rod for $3 at Princess Auto and torch that together. And so I had dump trucks pulling up to my house to get like a panel fixed, chairs, kitchen tables, lamps. I made like 20 grand over the summer.
You're back to working those 20-hour days just like that, eh?
It was, and I was really amazed. Like, that's not a job you could do like with staff. Like, you don't need to hire people. But when people are like, I don't know what I'll do for extra money, for me, I learned the lesson. Like, if you're a welder, fitter, if you're a fabricator, and you have these skills, and you have some basic tools. Granted, I got a lot of tools. I had invested in my tools over the years. So I got a drill press, I got, pedestal grinders, I got welders, I got these things. If you got the basic tools to work through, there's always money to be made.
Yeah.
So if you're saying like, I want to be the small town welder, shop, guaranteed there's going to be so much work for you in that area. Fixing equipment, fixing this, building things for people, or people. Lots of people have ideas and they just need someone to help them make it because they don't know how to. Right. And I got a lot of people being like, oh, I want to make like a custom surround for my hot tub. Is there anything that doesn't rust? It's like, yeah, stainless or aluminum. Well, I want to get a fancy design in it. I'm like, well, just draw it on a piece of paper. I would literally just photocopy that, import it into CAD, and get it cut out at a laser shop and done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And it's great. Like, it's great. That's another reason why I wanted to join a trade as well, because you are able to move to a remote spot and still have work,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, what about the other parts of your dreams? Your firefighters, welding, like welding is, like I did welding first and then fab. You're doing fab first, then welding. And just FYI, when you have one red seal, you don't need as many hours for the second one. You knock a whole bunch of stuff off. So it doesn't get easier.
Yeah.
Do you want to, like at some point, if you want to get that welding red seal, you're going to have to get into a welding shop. You're going to have to put in straight welding hours. What kind of work would you like to do for that?
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
I have
That's
a
still
friend
a few
right
years.
now. I have a friend right now, Pandora, actually. She just finished. She's in her third block of schooling for fabrication, and she just got a job, a welding job for her out of the city.
Okay.
So she's kind of, I always joke with her and I say, I'm one step behind you. Like, I'm right on your heels.
You're chasing her down?
Yeah. So probably follow something similar to her and just get something out of the city to.
Well, I'm good she's doing well. I haven't talked to her since before her third block. I know that I had, I told her that if she needs any help to let me know, because I miss teaching. So
she has been so good to me. Our shops are very close. Well, now she's not there anymore, but our shops are so close together. So if I ever had any questions or anything, like, she bought me a blueprint book before she left. She's like, this will really help you. I was like, thank you.
Is it the IPT, the one with the blue cover?
Yes.
I told her about that book. I remember. Actually, I think it came up in the podcast, to be honest. Because I think I sent her the email after being like, you got to get this book. It's going to be so helpful for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got little quizzes in it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And it's got all the breakdowns for like how the math works, which is so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought I'd be excited about a blueprint book, but here we are.
It's like on the coffee table. People were like, that's so boring. It's like, no. Look, if you lift a load that's
Read
over
it.
3 tons and you're off center, you need to do a 6-inch blah blah blah. And we're like, what
Oh
are you
my gosh,
talking
that was
about?
my life today.
Trying to lift off
Yeah.
center crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. You guys got a big crane in the shop then? Is it a big shop?
So we have one shop in Toronto, and then we also have a shop in Etobicoke. And I was at our Etobicoke shop today, and we have a nice crane in there. It's a big boy. But at our shop in Toronto, we just have a little gantry crane.
Little just baby
that I
jib
use.
cranes, yeah.
Yeah, but it's right over my table, which is great.
Yeah, then you can do everything. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. 'Cause I hate, you know how it is. You hate asking for help lifting things. You don't want to bother everyone. Obviously, I do ask for help, but when I get that crane, I'm like, haha, I can do it alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, and it's fun to be strong. Like welding makes you strong, right? Because like
it's fun to be smart and strong.
yeah,
Smart about being
exactly.
strong. Yeah.
Like whenever I work with wood, like my carpenter buddies will be like, "Hey, you want to come help me out at the building a garage or something?" I'm like, "Sure." And I go to grab like plywood, and they're like, "Oh, careful, that sheet of plywood's heavy." It's like, you don't know what heavy is. Wood's not heavy. I can pick up a sheet of plywood. Get out of here. Try picking up a sheet of 14 gauge. Good luck. Like,
Oh my god.
now,
Just have to be careful about our back.
well, that's the thing. Don't be irresponsible because you only get one back, and you come across a lot of welders with back problems in your life, and it's from lifting those heavy things. So, I mean, one side of it keeps you in shape. As soon as I quit welding, I got fat. When I was still welding, I was always in good shape, and then as soon as I got
sweaty all the time.
yeah, exactly. And as soon as I got a desk job, I was like, oh man, I'm falling apart.
Because you're so used to being like, I eat so much now.
Yeah. Well, you have to.
I'm always hungry.
Yeah, you have to. You spend so much energy, and how much water you drink when you're welding, it's like liters. Now it's hard for me to drink a liter a day. I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong with me?
My little brother is a journeyman carpenter, and he's like, yeah, welcome to eating as much as you want. I'm like, nice.
Now, one of the things you said that was
interesting. He goes to the gym. I don't.
Yeah, gymming is for people that want to show off, I guess. But
yeah, no, not me. You can have that.
Yeah. One of the items you brought up that I thought was interesting when you said you wanted to move to Toronto is that you were following music. Did I catch that right?
Yeah, I loved the music. Well, I still love it, but
yeah.
I loved going to local shows. I would take the train from Whitby 3 times a week. It was so, I don't know how I did it. And I would go to work the next day and everything. And just fell in love with the community of the local scene in Toronto. And that's what really drew me here.
Like, I love music. I was a musician myself. And I totally get that. And I think that it's kind of one of the privileges of being in the trades too. Like I got into the trades young, so I always kind of had a good job. So whenever concerts would come up that I wanted to go to, I could go.
Yeah, you could afford them.
I could afford it, which was so fun because I love going to shows. Like I'm going to go see Linkin Park here in September in Vancouver.
Nice.
Right? And it's fun because I'll have a friend just reach out and be like, hey, Vancouver, September, Linkin Park. I'll be like, yeah. I'm in. Like, let's do it. Buckle up, And even with local shows, it's like, you can just go and you see so many people in the trades at those same shows.
You do. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to talking to people and you're like, wow, we all have to be up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. What are we doing?
So true. And are you a musician at all? Are you artistic?
I'm artistic, but I am not a musician. I could never get it quite right. But I paint.
Yeah, are you a painter? You do art? Yeah. And what about metal art? Have you gone down that path at all and experimented at all?
I do silly little things for friends at the moment. So the last thing I made...
By silly...
I made this little like metal chicken for a friend out of like nuts and bolts. I actually have...
That sounds adorable.
I made this little Muskoka chair the other day.
Aw.
I haven't posted it yet because it's for someone this weekend.
Well, they won't see
But
it
I'm
till after
excited.
this. Yeah.
But I love it because it's for my sister's mother-in-law, and she was like, I'm like, what do I bring her? And she's like, make her something cool. I'm like, I'll figure it out. So I'm very lucky that I have a shop as well that will let me stay after hours and
I was
play
gonna say,
around with
like, do
the
you have a
trowel.
place at home you can build things, or not really?
Not with metal.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have any machines. But work is so good about that. Like,
Good.
they'll let you come in on the weekend, play around, stay after hours, no problem. Use the space.
Mm-hmm. And like in your family now, like your home, you said your partner is a plumber and you're a
Yeah.
fabricator.
Yeah.
Is it shop talk all day at the supper
Um,
table?
do you want to know what he got me for my birthday the other day?
A
Last month?
grinder, a new 5-inch grinder.
No. He got me an impact drill and an oscillating tool.
So like one of those
He chose,
kits?
yeah, from Atlas.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh my God, he's more excited than me all the time with stuff. We have a huge shelf in our bedroom that's just tools. I'm like, this is going to be crazy. Or like, he found a plumb bob the other day at a site. He's like, I got it for you. Don't
Yeah,
worry, you'll have your own plumb bob.
look at this beautiful plumb bob. It bobs so
Yeah.
well. It is so plummy.
Yeah, it's a solid 2 hours of shop talk when we get home from work, figuring out what we did with each other's days, but it's good. It's good.
No, I think that's wonderful. I think it's kind of what crushed the trades 20 years ago is that we stopped doing that. We would only be like, oh, well, how did you do at IT, or how did you do in your computer science, or doctors and lawyers? And we didn't give tradespeople the voice. I remember my dad was a boilermaker and we would talk shop at the dinner table. And then there came a time when my dad wanted me to go to university and was like, don't waste your time on shop. Don't waste your time in the trades. You're smart. You can go to university, blah, blah, blah. And I remember thinking, like, why is that, like, almost like you're asking me to look at this as not good enough and this as better, when I've grown
Right.
up my whole life with you talking about work. And I always thought it was cool at what you talked about, and you'd bring me stuff from work. You'd bring home like little ball bearings out of broken
Yeah.
bearings so that I can use it in my slingshot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely changing. I don't think it's looked down upon as much as it was previously. Like, even when I was in high school, I don't feel like it was they weren't pushed as much, but they were definitely encouraged if you were interested,
Yeah. And when you were in high school, was it still like the attitude of like, well, all the smart kids go to university and all the problem kids go to the trades? Because that's what it was like for me very much when I was coming up.
It wasn't as much like that
Yeah.
for me.
Good.
Actually, that we had the OYAP program a couple of years after me, I think it was.
Okay.
And my little brother took it.
Oh,
And
amazing.
it
Amazing.
was great for him. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So I feel like it was definitely encouraged. He followed in my footsteps. Now I'm following in his footsteps.
And then it's good. Like, I mean, in the future, for you and your partner and your friends, you go out, you have a life, and you talk about the trades. You're proud of the things you do.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
proud of the structures that exist. You want your friends to know about it. And I think that's kind of how we fix the future, right?
Yeah, and I've even dragged my partner to previous installations that I wasn't even a part of yet. But I was like,
Yeah. My
"Come
company
look
did
at
that.
this." Like, yeah, look at this. Take a picture of me in front of it.
That's awesome.
But it's so important, like, for me to have something that I'm proud of, and I want to talk to people about it, and I'm excited about it. And it's nice that I still have, like, my bosses are excited about everything we're doing all the time. It's not just like, oh, another day at work. Like, they're on the shop floor with us.
Yeah.
Super stoked about what's going on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what about your involvement with the community? Do you Do you want to be more involved? Are you involved? Like there's a Toronto chapter for the CWBA. You know, they do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff in your area. We have like AWMI, the Association of Women in the Metal Industries. They have a Toronto chapter. You know, you have the Weld Her programs, the Women on Site, Jill of All
Yeah.
Trades. There's all these amazing
Yeah.
programs now. Do you want to be involved with them? Do you see them or are you like just concentrating on your career for now?
Right now, I'm just blinders on, concentrated on the
Yeah,
career, but I would love to be involved with stuff in the future. Like when I was in school, I got invited to the Build a Dream Gala.
right. That's
We Build a
huge.
Dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. And seeing everyone that was involved in that and talking to them, like that would be pretty neat to be involved in the future, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, blinders on, trying to make money and do cool things at work
And get your skill up there. Yeah.
and get my skill up there, obviously. Learn as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Good, good. Well,
Yeah.
this has been an awesome interview. Just to wrap it up, obviously I always ask a couple questions kind of at the end in terms of
Yeah.
advice, right, from you. So, in terms of someone coming into the GTA, which can be very scary, it's a big market, lots going on, lots of even schools and programs that offer different things. What kind of advice would you give someone that's young and looking to perhaps get into the trades and they're in the GTA? Like, how do they navigate all this information?
For the advice I would give would be go into the shop that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Have them see your face. Bring your gear with you. You never know what could happen. You
Yeah.
know, all that they could say is no.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find even seeing from my side of things at work, I don't think that they check the emails right
Yeah.
for all,
Yeah.
you know, they might not be monitored all the time. Come in. Like that's how people get jobs.
Make an impression.
Yeah. Take
Yeah.
or connect with someone that you know that works at that shop.
Right.
You know,
Use the
that's a big
internet,
thing.
right? Connect with people
Yeah.
online. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Connections and appearances.
That's awesome. That's great advice. And now what about for people that are, kind of getting into the trades and don't know much about fabricating because that's a trade that's kind of dying like we said. What is it that attracted you to fabricating and what advice would you give to someone about getting into it?
So welding for me was what got me into fabricating. Welding is such a small part of what I wanted to do. So once I realized I don't want to be welding all day long. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be making something from start to finish and be able to weld it,
Yeah.
you know? So for someone who wants to get into fabrication is for take a class if you're able to, talk to people about it. Get a feel if that's the right thing for you. Like you said, there is a lot of math with it, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
problem solving. You're going to get really frustrated when things aren't
Yeah.
making sense. Once I found out that my brain kind of works in that way where I can problem solve things on the fly, then I was like, okay, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
Fabrication's right for me. Yeah.
I remember when I was just looking into fabricating and I had a mentor, his name was Terry, and he's like, "You see that blueprint, that little piece? Like we're just looking at a piece of a massive blueprint." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Now close your eyes. Can you still see it?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you like move it around in your head?" I was like, "Yeah, I can kind of move it around." He's like, "All right, you can be a fabricator." He's like, "If you don't have an
Really?
yeah, he's like, if you don't have an imagination, you can never be a fabricator because you
Yeah, you're
have to
right.
have an imagination. You got to be able
Yeah.
to imagine what this looks like when it's done. That's how you'll catch mistakes. Because if you look at the
Yes.
blueprint and it's just a bunch of numbers, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to screw something up.
I like
But if
that.
but if you can look at a drawing and just imagine it, then that's the difference because now you'll be like, oh, wait. Like you'll get a gut feeling being like, something's not right because that's not the
Yeah.
way I saw it in my head. And then it makes you double check, right?
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
But our our lead fabricator, I would love to hopefully
See
he
his
never listens
brain.
to this
Yeah.
because I don't want him to get a big head.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I could just put his brain in my brain and just he's one of those guys that just exactly what you said. He
Mm-hmm.
can move it around in his head. He can figure it out. And it's like, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that.
Yeah. It takes practice. It takes time.
Oh, for sure. He's
Yeah.
like 7 or 8 years into it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cassie. This has been a fantastic interview. I learned lots about your program and about you. It's been great.
Yeah. I love being on. It's so cool.
Any shout outs you'd like to send to anybody? Any hellos?
Yeah. I'll shout out the girls from Women on Site, Pandora, Patty, Alicia, all those girls. Haley from school and
Mhm.
Anton. Yeah, those are my guys.
Awesome. Well, I hope they listen. We'll make them listen.
Yeah,
And
we'll make them listen.
and I'm out in Toronto all the time, so I hope you get involved with the Toronto chapter. I hope you
Yeah.
get involved with some of the local stuff going on out there because I'm out there, pretty often. So and I love catching up to see what's going on in the community out there.
Yeah, it'd be great to meet. in
Yeah, and I'd
person.
love to see your shop.
Oh yeah, come on.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
You should send me the information in an email. I'd like to go visit. I love
Yeah.
that stuff. Awesome.
I would love
Yeah,
that.
That's fun. Okay. I'm like in Toronto in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll just stop by right away. So
Yeah, you never know.
Awesome,
Maybe we'll
Cass.
make a metal rose.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I've never made one. I've never actually made one of my own.
Really?
Yeah. I've like literally helped people make them and like organized whole groups to make them, but I've never sat down and made one myself.
Funny.
That is kind of weird,
Oh.
eh? Yeah.
There's still time.
Yeah, there is still time. I'm not dead yet. I'm not pushing daisies. I can still make daisies. Yeah. All right, Cassie. Well, take care, and I'd love having you on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Max.
All right, and for all the people that have been downloading, sharing, and loving our show, keep it up. We love you, our fans. We love the fan mails that you're sending in through our new feature on our Buzzsprout feed. So we host the podcast through Buzzsprout. I know it goes out to all the listening streams, but that's where we post them. And on that app, we have a feedback, and people can send me any question they want, and I answer them. So in the next couple months, you're going to start seeing little add-ons to our podcast and little individual reels that I do of just me answering questions from the public. So use the feature, and of course, keep sharing and downloading the podcast. It's much appreciated, and I will see you at the next one. So take care.
We hope you enjoyed the show.